So we're going to put this over here. Put that there. I'm just adjusting, guys. Give me a second. We should be good. We should be, though. Could be wrong, but I think so. Let's see. Mm. Just waiting for somebody to come through here. It's been a while, guys. It's been quite a long time. Been doing a lot, been traveling a lot, been seeing a lot of family. Um, DCAing like crazy, like a madman, if I'm just being honest. Mm. Mhm. Just waiting for more people to gather in here. Hmm. What's up? What's up? Got two people. Cool. Two's better than nothing. So, thank you, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, please. Please, please, please. Like, share, subscribe. Doing me a favor. Put some comments in the chat. Let's talk. Let's talk about stuff. Feeling a little under the weather, so I apologize if oh, we got someone in the chat. Will we pump after ProveX is over? Are you talking about are you talking about the sacrifice phase? Because if you're talking about the sacrifice phase, then my answer is yes. So, yeah. How much is a different story though. Like I don't have really an idea of like once we start moving, what does that move look like? If I had to take an educated guess, I would say that there would be probably a move very significant that it eliminates, not eliminates, but it washes the people with a lot of supply out, just because they've been, depending on where they sacrificed at, of course, and you know all that good stuff. I would say three zeros and a one would be a great area to achieve for Pulse Chain, anyways. If Pulse Chain Network Token can get to like a 301, and maintain that range, maybe it dips back, down to four zeros and a seven again or something like that. But the floor just needs to be raised, which it will. If that type of price action happened, then you would only assume that there's going to be a lot of people taking profits at that area. Um, Whether you like to hear that or not, that is the truth. So I would expect if if we did go that high, three zeros and a one territory for Pulse Chain, be prepared for some major dumpage after that. Now it might not last for a very long time, um, and who knows, maybe the floor just gets raised like really significantly to the point where, um, if you are of that mindset that we are going higher, could you see less cheating? Mm, I'm not so. I think what is probably going to happen is we get somewhere to about three zeros one. Um, Whales take heavy profits, or whale, a whale. Whales taking heavy profit. Um, People are back in the doom phase of their psychological thinking about this network, saying, "Oh, we're never going to pump past SAC. There's too many whales. This, that, and the third. Blah, blah, blah." And then all of a sudden, like you just look and you're like, "Oh, we're 10x. We're 10x above three zeros and a one." So now, you know, that would be the true testament of where the chain could go, because that 10x above most people's sacrifice ranges, which is like that two zeros and a one range. um that might be the point where you see the most cheating at, like around those areas. It doesn't have to be right at two zeros and a one, but we're gonna have a lot of dumping as soon as we get above that three zeros one into that territory, anywhere in between there. Wherever our new all-time high is, just be prepared for like maybe a month or two of you know down sell pressure from that move, which is great because then once people are in that mindset again of once they see that 407 406 range again, it gives them like really bad PTSD, and they're like, oh no, I told you we're going lower, it's not happening this cycle. And then you just look up and you're like, oof, people got priced out. Those whales that decided to sell a lot of supply at a certain range, now they're priced out, you know. So and that is needed. Like that is definitely needed if you're of the mindset that in order for Pulse Chain to succeed, the unit supply has to be spread out a little bit more. Um, so that is, in my opinion, that is kind of like the. I get it. Like if you're someone with significant capital, and you're taking a lot of risk up front, having that multiplier there, that is a good incentive for somebody to come in. But on the flip side, how people would also look at it as, that's just forever dumping the price. So, forever sell, forever sell pressure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if that answered your question, I think relatively, um, I think Q1 will end up being really good. Q2, the beginning of it could be really good, but then like after that, you're playing with fire. We have the midterms coming up. Um, we have macro events such as like single family real estate, commercial real estate. All of these things are you know unless there's a way to dance around that to postpone that traumatic dumpage to like past 2030. I'm not so sure how the I'm not so sure that the economy holds as much as people want it to by the end of this year into 27, especially into 27. I think the lows could be in late 26, early 27 for Bitcoin, possibly for Ethereum too. I don't know. It's all a guessing game, really. But if I had to take a shot in the dark and say uh, a year from now, what does the crypto market look like? It would. I'm saying it looks disastrous a year from now. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But um, there's just a lot out there that kind of suggests that. So until I'm proven wrong, until there's more data that comes in to support another narrative that sounds good, we'll see. But until then, you gotta stay in logic. The minute you leave logic land is usually the time you get really, really wrecked. So, excuse me. So, no problemo. Does anyone else want to comment? Not that Silent Schiller. I like talking with you. You've been a pretty good supporter. I think you had a different X account, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. But you've always shown support, so thank you. Appreciate it. Mm, Pulse X though, since I've been gone, there's been capital deployed into Pulse X. How about that? How many times does the founder need to literally like say out loud, Pulse X, Pulse X, good, Pulse X, deflationary. Oh man, it really surprises me that more people don't get behind Pulse X. It really does surprise me. Now I'm not saying that the other core coins aren't good. I'm just saying that like if you're someone who is based in logic and you're like, what is the most sound investment that I could probably go into? It's like, you know, let me see this. Um, what was I saying? Uh, oh yeah, like I don't understand like why PulseX isn't like one of those tokens where you're like, oh yeah, of course I have to grab that one. Like there's literal serious debates about it. Like, what? What? Like, I couldn't imagine someone sitting there and going, I want Hex, I want Pulse Chain Network Token, I want INC, but I don't want PulseX. It's like, okay, okay. I I don't know. I'm lost honestly by that, but you know, let's see. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, like it is like strange that people have weird biases, which I understand to a degree. But it's like if you don't get behind PulseX, then I have no idea what your investment thesis is behind not getting behind PulseX. Especially if you really like Hex and you really like Pulse Chain and you really like INC. I have no idea why you wouldn't get behind PulseX, but there are some people out there. Like I remember when I was very active on X, not so much anymore. Wish I was, but I'm not. Um, at this point, it's just pride purposes why I'm not on X. And honestly, um, it's been a really good break without it. If I'm being completely honest with you, um, yes, I still can access my account. Yes, I can still look at stuff, but no, I can't post. That sucks. But and no, nobody can follow me. Nobody can see my stuff. It sucks. Well, maybe they could. Depends if they. I don't think so. I don't think anyone can see my stuff anymore. Hmm. Anywho, it's been good getting off of social media like that. Um, and I even when that happened to me, I actually decided to just remove myself completely from social media because it's like I don't know. Oh, when I mean removing myself, I mean like the Instagrams, the Facebooks, and all of that stuff. Like YouTube, obviously, like you know, I want to keep doing YouTube. I don't mind it. I was really nervous by it, um, but then like for me, like it's easy for me to just talk. Like I used to hold spaces and all that good stuff. Used to have really good conversations, so I didn't think YouTube was gonna be that big of an issue. I think for me, it's just when there's nobody here and it's just me kind of like, ISO, like, when Kobe used to do the clear out. Yeah. It's really interesting too because what's it called? The moves that these banks, hedge funds, everything that they're doing is aligning with more mass adoption. And I also found it interesting too. Let's see if I can pull this up. Mm, let's see if I can. Let's see. Gotta go to CSNBC. Or what is it? CNBC. What is it again? Um, where is this? Because I know I saw it, and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see. Image out. Do this. Okay. So I wanted to raise this issue because if you look, right, if you look at how they're advertising the crypto markets, right, you'll see right here, okay, look at how they're marketing this to you, right? They're marketing this to you by Morgan Stanley launching crypto ETFs. Well, that's awesome, right? Um, it's very awesome that it's also very awesome that they're trying to hide Ethereum from you. Now, what do I mean by that? Because they're clearly listing this on here. So, how is it hiding Ethereum, right? It says Bitcoin, Solana, Ether. So, crypto bros know what Ethereum is or Ether, right? But to the average normal person, if you went to look this stuff up, because I did, I punched in exactly what they said. Bitcoin shows its price chart, right? Solana, it shows the Solana price. It shows uh, what wallets to use to download to adopt Solana. There's some Coinbase ads. There's a whole bunch of stuff that clear as day. Like you could access Solana. Now, when they said Ether, though, when you type in Ether, the first thing that comes up, and I don't want to mistake this, but if you typed in Ether, it shows you this. Ether, right? Which it's basically showing you that it's chemistry. So when you're looking up Ether, all you get is a big old chemistry right there. There's nothing that leads you to Ethereum. It's all scientific, right? Like it's all formulas. It has nothing to do with the Ethereum token or the Ethereum network at all. So again, what does this mean? Why is this any significance? Well, it means that they're still trying to accumulate Ethereum. It means that they're not going to introduce Ethereum to you in such manner until the people who are planning on accumulating it for infrastructural reasons, um, they want Ethereum. Like right now, I think they're really upset that they cannot make the Ethereum price go any lower. I think if they had it their way, uh, they would really like Ethereum to be cheaper. But they know that they would be the only ones creating that floor. So why would you give open opportunity for people to come in and scoop the supply that you want? So this is an indication that um, Ethereum is probably going to reach all time highs very soon. Um, as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum made new all time highs in the next um, 30 to 60 days. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, Now, where does Ethereum go in the short term? This isn't financial advice. This is my own pure speculation off of my own um, thinking of where things can go, um, why it would happen that way, and such and such. I don't think Ethereum is going to like. I don't think it's going to do the same, like the exact same movements as Bitcoin, but I think it'll come pretty close to what Bitcoin had done in the 2017 cycle. So, um, yeah. So I definitely think that Ethereum is probably going to go 5 digits, but it's like how high of 5 digits, right? So like I don't think it'll go to like I don't think it'll do like a $20,000 move. That would be crazy. That would be awesome if it did. I just don't. I don't think so. I don't think that price range to take it that high is necessary. I think that they can achieve what they want out of the cycle with altcoins, everything that is attached to Ethereum. I think they can achieve every single bit of it just getting Ethereum to 12 to 16, well, 12, 12, 15, $16,000, somewhere around there. So it'll come close because the narrative that they would want to cultivate out of that would be, look, Ethereum is doing exactly what Bitcoin did, right? So um, I would just, I'd watch out for that because the minute that Ethereum is above $12,000, you're really playing with fire. So, um, and again, this is just my own opinion. This isn't financial advice. It's just where my head is in this bull cycle. And I mean, just with seeing an $8,000 Ethereum, that's going to be very euphoric for lots of people. So yeah, like if you're one of the people that you like to play it safe, you're like, okay, I'm only Bitcoin and Ethereum. In my own opinion, I think your time for DCAing into Ethereum is about to be, it's wrapping up. Because I personally don't believe in chasing things when they hit all time highs. I think that you should evaluate where you're putting your capital, how low or how far down did price go, what's the community look like, what's the overall sentiment. Uh, so you should have been buying Ethereum cheaper than $3,000 most of, I'd say, from the time Larry Fink came on the news in early 23 and said Bitcoin was a flight to quality. Um, you probably should have been accumulating uh, from even before that, but um, especially after that, right? Like that was real bullish. I believe Ethereum was like 16 or $1,800 or something like that at the time. Um, and Ethereum did fluctuate, a little bit. It bounced off that $800 range like really nicely, and honestly, that's why people had thought this could be Ethereum's cycle. Everyone, I I don't think people were screaming $500,000 Bitcoin. I think they were screaming $100,000 Bitcoin. So yeah, you gotta love when the algorithm knows that, um, everything that you do in your personal life. So that's great. That's great. So just let's see. Got this commercial on. I like having music on. Music's good. It's chill. So, but yeah. Anyone got anything else? Anybody going once? But yeah, like when I'm looking at this right here, when I'm like Bitcoin, Solana, Ether. If I'm a normie, I'm looking like what? And then guess what? Like as soon as they look it up and they see that chemistry equation, they're like, oh, I don't. I guess I, wrong thing. There is more people that are aware of Ethereum's existence, but I think it's still very new. And so when you're saying terminology, um, like like Ether, I don't know if too many people would catch on that that is Ethereum. I think you know maybe, right, but I do think that them kind of putting it out and laying it out like that, like putting Solana second, right? Like why would it be second? Like why would that be the second thing that you put? Like this list should be, honestly, it should be flipped back around. It should be Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin. But you know, we already know that they're mainstream's going to lead with Bitcoin for a long time. So I'm not surprised to see Bitcoin there. I'm not surprised to even see Solana there. I'm just surprised at the order. That's all. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Like, I mean, nowhere is the cycle even. It's nowhere near over. The cycle's not over. Bitcoin didn't top either. I know a lot of people hope it does because then that's the indication that Ethereum's going to pump. I don't think so. It ain't done. Like when I was looking at public sentiment when Bitcoin was $116,000 earlier in 25. So like literally like almost a year ago, nobody even batted an eye. Like I remember telling people like, "Oh my gosh, Bitcoin's at $115,000." Guess what? Everyone looked at me like I was still stupid. They're like, "What? What? Okay, so that lets you know like, okay, when I tell people about like, oh my gosh, like Bitcoin went from 15,000 to 115,000 in 2 years, people still don't care. They're like, okay, and what does that mean? That is so incredibly bullish. You have no idea. You have no fucking clue how bullish that is. So, do from because of that, I think people are already like used to seeing like, well, six-figure Bitcoin, big deal. And if you honestly think about it, Bitcoin has been in the range of like that. It's been anywhere from 80 to 100 and some odd $1,000 for like a year now. It's fluctuated that. People they don't care. They just and there's really not a reason for them to care, but that just because they don't care doesn't mean something's not going to happen, right? Like the normies are not indicators. Well, they are, but they're not, right? Like you can have normal people be indicators sometimes, but not often, right? Like you can't read like too much into like what normal people who have no idea what cryptocurrency is. Like you just can't. You can't. You have to rely off of actual factual data. Like what is the real, what is the is, you know, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, all that stuff. No, like what is real, like what is happening right now. Um, not certain narratives that people want to you know have for their channels or anything like that. Uh, what is being put into law on paper? What are corporations and hedge funds doing at this time? Like um, what is their intentions? Well, their intentions are to accumulate, and it always has been. The thing that drives people crazy, they wanted this to be a market that was for the normal average retail person, and they never got it. Never got it. It's been PvP trader cycle. This has been a trading cycle. If you've ever seen one before, this is a trader's cycle. You have a lot of people going off of the 60-day moving averages on Bitcoin. Um, you have a lot of people that are just connected with insider VCs and Solana, and they're just degenning. It's either casino season or it's been swing trade season. That's all it's been. That's all it's been. You can't get mad. You can't fault people for where the action's at. But at the same time, just because in the immediate people are winning, that doesn't mean they're going to continue to win like that. Honestly, if you ask me, like this is usually around the time traders get wrecked, like badly, especially in Pulse Chain. Oh my gosh, if you think traders aren't going to get wrecked in 26 with Pulse Chain, you're insane. And when I mean wrecked, I don't mean like rugged or price go down to a all-time new lows and whatever. No, 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 no. I'm saying the people who have supply, who think can trade themselves into more supply, you better be careful because all it takes is one God candle to wipe you the fuck out. Totally takes you out of your position. That's when things get interesting though, right? So you have to take the abuse for a little while, right? If you're just a like for me for an example, yes, have I allegedly done swing trading? Yes, right? Of course. Everything's alleged by the way. Not financial advice either. Um but then you have to look at it from this perspective. Is that how you want to continue on when things just go in a up into the right direction? No. You want to sit on your supply, you want to, hodl until you see good profits for you, right? Your own personal situation. And then you take profits and, you hope that it dips another 90%. And you buy back lower eventually, right? Usually a slow drawn out process. um Sometimes it could take like, you know 3 months for the bottom to come in. It could take 6 months for the bottom to come in, right? Like from a left translating, like, okay, this is, we're going down, right? Like we're crashing. And then from that point of dipping 90, 95, 99%, then you go, oh, okay, this is a good entry right here. But be warned that it doesn't always work like that. you know it doesn't. Wish it did, but it don't. But yeah, like, I mean, let's look at pulse chain too. Let's go ahead and take a look. See. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Let's refresh this bad boy. Let's see if anything changed. Nope. Okay. So we're looking at price, and of course we are. You know, we're low. We're probably as low as we're probably gonna get. Maybe a little bit lower. Maybe, but I don't know. Don't know. Like right here, like look at Hex. I like Hex, right? Like I have a decent amount of Hex, but Hex isn't like my entire life, right? Like um it's a very evenly it's an evenly allocated asset that I speculate on, I stake allegedly, and a little bit liquid. Of course, I want to take profits. Look, guys, if anyone is going to come on here and sell you a pipe dream that they're not selling for profits, either one of two things: either you're retarded, right, or you're bad at intuitional like reading, like like what is real and what's fantasy, right? Why do you think we've had so much down? Because people sell, and they're going to too. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. When once we get over three zeros and a one, all these people that are like, no way, I'm holding out to a penny. No, you're not, bro. No, you're not. You're not holding out to a penny. If they say they're holding out to a penny, that really means that at that two zeros and a one, they are dumping on your fucking head. That's usually what that means. You gotta learn to 10x minus 10x of whatever they say that they're going to sell at. So, but what I do hope for is that we can get that out of the way really, really relatively quickly, because I do think a lot of people are going to take profits there. I think actually it would be to the point where people would honestly think like, okay, this might be end of cycle for Pulse Chain, and then right before you know it, it's like, 2 3 months of just God candles, and then people are going to sell those down. But I think a lot of people will be surprised where the floor is, when price did its all time high, and then it decides that people are comfortable with taking profits, and it'll drop 90+% again. Maybe, maybe, who knows? but I definitely do think that, at least from this perspective, where the cycle top will be comparatively to where you will be at most of the bear cycle, I'd say you have a good opportunity in pulse chain, even still. So, what else did I want to look at? Oh, yeah. I want to look at something else too. Do I have it? Hold on, pull this up. I did want to look at PTGC too. Let me go to deck screen. I like deck screen better. Let's see here. PTGC. Let's see. Here we go. And better yet, yeah, we'll put it up here. Okay. So right now, PTGC is setting at a 38, almost $40 million market cap. This will easily 10x. So, could you see a $380 million market cap in PTGC relatively soon? Yes, you can. Not financial advice, but it just seems like that is the direction that we're going. So, already right here. So, this ratio, when I started to DCA a little bit heavier, the ratio was roughly like six. It was 6 pulse to get 1 PTGC. And then, there was other times where, I bought when the ratio was a little bit higher and when the price of PTGC was a little bit higher, of course. But these were good areas. Like when price dropped to that 4 zeros and let me see, 4 zeros and a 7, I believe. 4 zeros and a 7, I believe. It was something like that. But I know we dipped. We dipped pretty far low, from where I originally thought we were going to land. But actually, no, that's not true at all. I did think we were going to come down to those levels, um, but I just didn't think that we would have stuck around. I thought we would have bounced back a little bit, but then Pulse Chain had its, people were selling off, probably due to the sacrifice and stuff like that. So there were probably some instances where PTGC could have held afloat a little bit better, but that's not due to the PTGC coin or the community. That's only due to the 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 trading and paired liquidity people had um, when they were going back and forth chasing cores. Maybe they liked the ratio a little bit better. Who knows? Take a little sip of water. Sorry, I just been a little bit under the weather. Allergies, all that good stuff. But I did tell myself once I got a little bit better, I wanted to stream with you guys. You guys, I think there's only 2 people in here, but whoever decides to watch this later. Let's see. I wanted to pull up the chart. That's what I wanted to do. Why didn't it let me do that? Let's see. Maybe if I did. Well, I can't pull up the chart. Can I? Oh, I probably can't do it when it's okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, that's why I couldn't. Okay, okay, okay. Let me do this again. Mm, okie dokie. So, let's see. What kind of contraption did I draw? Oh, okay, okay. That's funny. That's when I drew that first chart. That was a while ago. That was a little while. I must have moved it too. Okay, so let's pull her up. Man, this was a while ago. Because I remember, I think it was in the summertime. I was like, oh, let's do some tea. Okay, so where we're at in PTGC, uh, so right here, right? I like to correlate the first half of PTGC's existence with the second half. So from launch, price appreciated, right? Went up, hit that 3-0 mark, came back down, did a nice little healthy recovery. All of this is normal and good. So right here, jumped up, and then pretty much from like this point on, from like end of end of 24, basically all the way until the beginning of February. What kind of move is that? Let's check her out. Let's say we'll do it from like, so basically you had the end of August of 24 all the way till, what is this range? What time frame is that? Beginning, it's like the first couple weeks of February, basically. You had a, let's see, what is the exact? If you're counting wicks, over a 4,000% move, right? So, if we believe that this is the bottom, right? And let's say that we don't quite do a 4,000% run up again. Let's say it's cut in half by that 2,000, right? So we could take probably from this point. Okay. So I would say if we're going to do similar time frames, probably looking similar. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Do that again. I I don't have my mouse on me, so this is really annoying that I have to do this with my finger, but whatever. So basically, going right here, it's like right about here. So if, and mind you, this is a big if, we did a similar momentum run in the same amount of months that happened at the very end. Oh, hold on, leave that there. Probably be like this right here. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, if you're of the mindset that okay, um, we're gonna do similar moves in the same amount of time, but we're not gonna move as high, you could probably expect new all-time high hit relatively quickly, right? And this is me being very conservative, I would say. So probably around that, I'd say like that late April into May range, even. Uh, by that time, we should have had a confirmed top of at least probably two zeros and a two, right? Bare minimum. And again, this is not financial advice. This is kind of like where my head's at. Um, if we look at UFO now, let's see, UFO. Okay, let me get rid of this. That's changed, obviously. Um, oops. See, I actually thought we were about to take off and we didn't. So failed TA on my part. But if we, and I haven't looked at this chart in a little bit too, so I mean, you can't fault me too bad for it. So if we're looking at, let's look at it like this, right? If we're looking at UFO against Pulse, let's see. Shit, I hate doing this stuff with no mouse. Is crazy. Uh, no mouse is diabolical, by the way. Like, I don't know what happened to it. I think it's somewhere in my bag, but I just don't have it. So let's do this. Okay. So if we're looking at the ratios right now, it looks like let's do that's the weekly. Let's do the monthly because I think we're in territory now where it's a little bit more um, probably benefiting you more if you just look at the monthly, like when in doubt, zoom out, right? So right here, we've held this area for support, right? Around that about 40% of a pulse right now. But at one time, if you look right here, there was almost a 2-to-1 happening. There was almost, it took, what time frame was this? The last time we were here. Yeah, so I mean, like beginning of February, um, you were staring at almost a two pulse per one UFO. Well, now we've reversed, and now it takes roughly um, zero point 0.4 of a pulse. So right now we're at about two UFO, two and a, 2 point something UFO token per one pulse. If you're of the mindset that this is going to turn around and you have a, well, when in doubt zoom out, what have you done in the past, what are you doing for me lately, and what can you do for me in the future? I'd say, from this area, it went up almost a it almost did a 2-to-1 on pulse. So I guess like a fair guesstimation from this is could it possibly hit that two um somewhere in the near future? Like, could we see a 2-to-1 in April, March? Like, when could we really see this shoot up? Now, if you look on the monthly too, the green candles that we did have for the monthly, they were pretty strong. Uh, I'd say right here, this is when Pulse started going down, right? So when Pulse is going down, obviously, all the alternative tokens on Pulse are probably going to go down with it as well. And then you're going to have a bunch of ratio trading and stuff like that. But if you look at these moves, it's interesting because UFO never had, and I know it's life existent, it's not as old as PTGC, but there hasn't been four negative red candles monthly up until recently. So this lets me know we're very oversold, in my opinion. I'd say even like right here was probably at that 0.57 per point 0.75 pulse equaling one UFO. I still like this area was probably a good DCA area in my opinion. So the lower we went was just only, this is only benefiting you if you're looking at it from a ratio standpoint of, potentially probably earning more pulse being in UFO. So is it out of the ordinary for us to hit that two, 2.5, maybe even three range sometime within the next 6 months? No, it's not out of the question. Um, it's just, what is the likelihood leading up to it? So like when you look at Q1, as of right now, it looks like this ratio wants to move against Pulse to the upside in UFO's favor. So again, it's like it's one of those things, guys, where again, not financial advice, but this is one of those things where you're better off getting when the ratio is low like that, and then probably benefiting to your favor by accumulating more network token if you're of that mindset. By the way, um, if you're one of these people that you're like, no, I see the vision, right? Like I see UFO going really high in price relatively. I see PTGC really doing numbers. And if you're of the mindset that Pulse X is going to do really well, like me, then this is a no brainer of tokens that are going to follow suit. So PTGC is already performing really well. Matter of fact, is what is PTGC up? Let me go take a check. Um, yeah, so I mean, even in the last 24 hours, I mean, PTG is up 6.6%. And another thing I want to dial in on. Let me see, right here. Let's see. So PTGC right now in liquidity pools, there is over 24 billion pulse. That's a lot of pulse. That is a lot of pulse, especially when you look at how undervalued even the asset is of PTGC. Like right now, there's less supply of PTGC in the liquidity pools as there were during the all-time highs, and there's more liquidity of Pulse. I think there's literally like 8 times more, 8x more than more supply in Pulse side. That's insane. People will do this thing where they say that um, PTGC isn't going to do that well because of the amount of supply in liquidity and holders and whales and blah 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 blah. Look, guys, how PTGC is designed is not exactly how you assume things are, right? So when price on the PTGC on the PTGC side is down, just like everything else is down, that's not really like a PTGC problem. That's like a network token problem. Now, could there be people that impact the price? Yes. But primarily, a lot of it is just the network token not doing well. But within those times, the system in PTGC has added a lot of pulse side liquidity because of how cheap it is, right? So they're accumulating more units for that liquidity pool, right? But it, it, when Pulse moves up, now this in theory would be applicable if this was USDC and it was at a flat, it is stable rate, right? But the reflexivity that you get when Pulse Chain goes up in value, that liquidity isn't. I mean, will it fluctuate? Yes. Will people buy into it, sell into it? Yes, they will. But right now, I mean, if Pulse were to do a dramatic move to the upside, there is 24.23 billion Pulse in that liquidity pairing, which right now is equaling $367,000. And this is when Pulse Chain is at its all time low. So when you have Pulse Chain moving up, you also have the X multiplier from the ratio of how PTGC contracts been interacted with on the network. So you have the, because it's a tax token, right? Those allocations of what you get taxed on, they're spread out. You got the DAO, right, which is 2% of that 5%. You have the 2% going to the state. Let me. I don't want to mess this up. I want to get this exactly correctly. So let me just go ahead and let's see. I should know this like the top of my head. I really should, but I don't. Oh, is this just a buy it? No, this isn't what I wanted. Let's see. Mm, Okay, we'll just look at how it's distributed. So the stake, you get a percentage of the tax when you stake your token, right? But you also get when you stake and lock as well. You're part of that share, right? There's allocation to liquidity pools. There's also allocation to the burn address as well. So right now, looking at where we stand in the total burned PTGC, this might even be off too, because I thought it was more than 13%. Huh. Anyways, even if I think it is more than 13%, but let's just say like let's take this number for face value for a second because this isn't too far off. But I do know that there is more PTGC burned than this. I almost am positive. Um, this token has crazy potential, and not even just PTGC, but UFO as well. Like UFO is basically like a leverage play on PTGC, depending on how you think of it. But um, yeah, and I mean right now, like we're 16, almost 17,000 holders. When PTGC was at its all-time high, I believe there was only 3,000 holders. Let that sink in. At all-time highs, you had less pulse in liquidity, right? But the token price was higher. Now you have more liquidity of pulse, and the price token of PTGC is lower, right? Like it's probably at its all time low for a while. Like it probably did bottom out. So and by the way, like there's only like 2.7%. Let's take a look see. Or not 2.7%. 2.7 billion PTG 2.78 billion in liquidity on buy side. This token can run up. It for sure can. It can do numbers. And so can UFO. UFO has I don't know how much liquidity UFO had when it was at its all time highs, but I can guarantee you it's probably not as much as it is now. Let's look at it. Let's take a look see. Let's see. Yeah, so like right now, there's only 46 billion UFO tokens. That means there is only, I believe, 46, 47 shark positions, if I'm not mistaken. Think about that. There is only 46 shark positions available in liquidity right now. People sleep on this token. I have no idea why either, because when you look at like the total liquidity with it, like look at the pairs. We can go do another pair if you want. Let's see. Let's do the PulseX pair. Fuck it, let's do it. By the way, I think, and this is just my own personal opinion, but I do think that whatever PulseX does, UFO is probably going to do a 2x on it. So, um, not financial advice. Take that for however you want to. Um, but yeah, look, guys, almost 20, literally almost 20 billion PulseX tokens. Arguably, this is probably the best pairing UFO has. Besides, like, I get it, like the network token, you need it. That's, you're getting volume from that, and all that good stuff. Understood, right? Totally understand that. I'm not a hater of it. It's needed. It's necessary. But what I am saying with this particular pair is this is probably going to amplify. Um, this pair is probably going to amplify more so UFO in price than Pulse will. Just be okay. So let me put it to you this way: a lot of people speak on reflexivity of the liquidity pools that the pairs are in. You have to think like outside the. So it's not all about what Pulse Chain does. Like that, yeah, it does have more liquidity with it. But look at the other pairs though. Like if if Pulse X were to do a 1-to-1 with Pulse, this is great opportunity right here, right? If Pulse X were to lap Pulse and do a two Pulse for every one Pulse X, well, now we're looking at a way more expensive UFO token with the Pulse X pair than the wrapped Pulse pair. They might obviously, all 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 tides raise sinking ships, right? So when you have one pair that brings you up real significantly, that's going to be like the depending on how much liquidity you have with it, that's going to be the dominant pair. But if you have about the same amount of supply in other pairs that do better than Pulse, right? Like so with Hex, Pulse X, INC, um, maybe some pump tires coins like Most and whatever. This is only going to amplify this ecosystem. So not all the times can you think of, well, if Pulse goes up, then this will go up. So that's what I'm. No, 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 no. The entire ecosystem, like the three coins. So I think Pulse does the worst performance out of the core coins. So you're really hoping that the other pairs take off because yeah, if Pulse did a 50x and what depending on whatever the ratio is with PTGC and UFO, right? You're probably going to want to position yourself in the coins that you either think are undervalued. So if you want more Pulse and it's cheaper to rotate into Pulse than it would be to Pulse X to get more of that token. You have to do whatever is going to help your own personal situation out, right? But I'm saying from a perspective of you want the most gains, you want to be you want to be in things that are going to trigger why you have more gains. Like you can't always run off of the investment thesis of like Richard pumping my bags. I'm gonna tell you guys right now that is the weakest that is the weakest arguing point to get into Pulse Chain. You have to stop including your obsession with the founder in order for people to take the chain seriously. If you want to if you're introducing good products to people, talk about the good products, right? Look, I'm an RH fan. I've learned a lot from RH. I probably still could learn a lot from the guy. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. But with that being said, that is a poor investment thesis. You have to think of better ways to relate what we have. You can't just be like, oh, well, the founder's going to pump my bags. Okay. If that it does happen, great. But when it doesn't happen, how else would, like, what else is here? What else would we use? What else would you speculate on? And this is why I do have the investment thesis I have, because I myself want to try to remove the founder having anything to do with anything about my investment thesis. Now, obviously, if you're in the community, you've been here a while, it's a little easier for you to jump on board with that and feel completely comfortable with that. But to a good amount of people, they weren't probably around during the OG Hex days. So all they see is a Twitter account, all they see is a couple old videos, and that's all they got. Like me. Like, I wasn't around during the RH live stream sessions. I wasn't. It honestly took me a lot. It took me talking myself out of investing in Pulse Chain in order to invest in Pulse Chain. Isn't that a crazy concept? I was like, these people sound so crazy when they talk about this one singular guy that it's almost just worth speculating on just from that point for me. Because I'm like, I'm that type of guy to think that way and to sense that where good opportunity is, and the emotional state of where investors are. Like, I'm pretty decent at reading that stuff. So I mean, obviously, just from that point of me knowing and being educated about stuff, um, like I'm cool with it. But other people, they don't know shit, guys. They don't know what Richard did last cycle. They don't know who he even is today. The minute they look him up, they see the Interpol stuff, they see a bunch of negative stuff. Now, I understand that that is FUD, and not all of it is completely like showcased in the correct manner. Like, a lot of it, we all know like what it is, right? But to new people, they don't. So, in order for you to get those people on board, you have to convince them of another strategy of why they should put their capital here. You need to introduce them to things like PulseX, because basically it comes down to it like this. I like stuff that can do well without any manipulation to it. So PulseX, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that's the only token on this chain that has any glimpse of a shot of doing well without RH. Without RH. PulseX is the token to probably just, fight through the storm and, up and to the right. It's probably the only coin on Pulse Chain that has that chance. Beside, like, I'm saying a Richard core coin, right? Now, PTGC and UFO, and there's some people that classify it as a core token because of the web liquidity and stuff like that, which is respectable, but it's not an RH token, right? So, with that being said, your journey is going to be a lot more, not more difficult without RH. It's just, I don't know how to put it. It basically is. You have a lot of Richard enthusiasts on Pulse Chain. Not everyone on Pulse Chain is in unison with each other. There's a lot of people that are just really obsessed with Richard, and they're really obsessed with what happened in the past, and even to the point where you have real smart people. Like, I'm not going to trash them all the way, but you have actual smart people that will tell you, look you dead in your eye, and tell you that EHEX is a better investment than PHEX. Now that's a little too far. It's a little too far for me. Like, I'm not willing to go there. EHEX will do fine. This isn't a let's poo poo on EHEX, but you just got to read the room, guys. You got to read the room. So I think there's ample opportunity with all the cores. including eHex and INC, and but my how I invest my capital allegedly, right? Like who's to say any of this is even true, right? But let's say hypothetically speaking, I'm a big time investor in Pulse Chain, and I'm looking at reasons to keep me here. For me, you gotta sell. Like, there's got to be some sort of game theory that works positively, that doesn't take you know certain types of manipulation. I don't mind it. I'm glad, I'm here for it. I hope our, like, Richard or whoever with millions of dollars buys the shit out of these tokens. I hope that whoever decides to buy up all these tokens makes me richer than ever. No pun intended. But when I'm talking to real people, I have to look at it from a context of, look, this is what I'm invested in. This is why. And you break down the math equations, you break down the game theory, you break down who holds what supply, you break down what is their sell patterns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? This is the so PTGC UFO outside of RH tickers is the only thing on chain, guys. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. These two coins, UFO, PTGC, outside of the RH coins, you're just playing with fire at that point. You're really, really, really risking it all because like that. It is what it is. Like I don't make the rules. But how long have we been going for, man? Put something in the chat. Whoever's here, two people, put something in the chat. Give me something to fucking talk about. I've just been rambling, man. Like, give me some cool subjects. Give me a question. Give me anything. Like, send send me some PTGC. No, sending someone PTGC is crazy. You're taking such a hit if you have big bag. Put some questions in the chat. Oh man, dude, I'm starting to get tired. When you're sick, anything you do is just like, damn, dude, I just want to lay down, take a nap. But yeah, it's interesting. Nice. Let's look at the hex chart or the pulse X chart. Let's look at the pulse X chart. Fuck it. Let's look at it. Look at this old TA. Now, you know, I do think we could still do something like that, but let's just restart over because I was like, you know, for whatever reason, I really thought Paul Shane was going to take off like around Christmas time, but I was wrong, and rightfully so. I was wrong. But let's take a look. See, let's do some of this. God damn! I wish I had my mouse. This fucking sucks. Okie dokie. And then if you wanted to draw the bottom, let's take this trend line. So basic. I think we're about to break out of this triangle. I really do. How far we go? Um, I had posted in the other. I think I posted on YouTube what I originally thought, and I do think at bare minimum we go at least 3x over sack prices. So that's very conservative. I don't actually think it'll go that low, or I think it'll go higher than that. But just from where things are at right now, that's kind of what it's suggesting to me, anyways. Like, I would really like if we were like, somewhere like in here, like somewhere. If we're somewhere like right here, I don't know why this isn't. And let's say from actually let's do this. We're gonna put this on the monthly. I think at this point, guys, like if you're gonna do any sort of like deep heavy charting, you might as well just look at the weekly and monthlies because I just think that's better suited of where we're at least right in this time. So we're looking, and obviously, you know, the monthly even is closing in. Like we could get bullish really quickly. So I'd say maybe by by February we need to be on our way up here. I really do. I think we'll probably hit this area, right? Well, some people think we might just retrace to this area, then to here. I actually happen to believe that we might be right there, right? And then I do think March and April we could see sideways movement. Could. So even if we were like, okay, all of February was bearish, right? And then the 1st of March kicks in. That's the think we'll like retest this area or somewhere around here. And then I think from that point we're probably just gonna end up breaking to the upside, probably March going into April. So again, not the biggest TA guy. There's a lot of people that I would say are really good at that stuff. I'm like the I probably just do the basics, right? Like I'm not like a wizard or anything like that, but um, if you were to present me like, okay, could Pulse Chain get to like that 4 zeros 9, 3 zeros 1 range on PulseX by April 1st? Yeah, I'd say you got a good shot at it at least. Now, okay, if we were going to be bearish, right? Let's be bearish real quick. Let's do it. Let's get rid of these. Okay, so let's say we slightly break above to these levels, right? But then we go slightly down from that point and we touch this again by the 1st of March. Oh, wait, shit. Where was it? There we go. Okay, let's say. And we touch this by the 1st of March. The top of that triangle again, right? Do I think we could see a massive upswing into March? Probably to here, right? March, I'd say maybe like by April 1st, you probably see like a four zeros, 5 8. So like four zeros and a six by April. I'd say that's pretty doable. Because I don't think it's not that I think that we're gonna literally like to the T. We could. I mean, there's all this possibility that we could. I just happen to believe that at least like for Pulse Chain, I think that we get a good upswing into the beginning of by the 1st of February. I do think Pulse X will make a nice decent move to four zeros and a four range. It's definitely within the cards of possibility. Oh wait, can you guys even see that? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. Again, this is like sloppy, but could it do it? Absolutely, it could. Absolutely. So, alrighty, alright. So, I'd say bull case for Pulse X by March. If we can get above to like that 3 zeros 1 range for Pulse X, excellent. That's awesome. That is an indicator that we're probably going to see 10x above that at least by the end of the year. Now, if we're like, okay, we started off strong, like January ended very bullish into February. That's like the local top right there for the monthly, and then we go down the next month, right? We retrace back, solid amount too, like to the point where we're like, oh, it's forever ending, forever dump, and then boom, floor got raised again, and then for the if you're taking like a bearish perspective, you should at least be by sacrifice prices, at least by the end of this year, like December 1. If you're not in this range of like three zeros and a one, this has been a failure of an L1. In my opinion, right? Like I'm allowed to have my own opinion. I'm allowed to be critical. It doesn't mean I'm going to slander the guy and say it's all his fault and whatever. It's just it is what it is. Um, but I don't think that'll happen. Obviously, I'm just letting you know like this is kind of like where my mindset is going into the year. If you were to ask me like what is the likelihood that Pulse X gets to three zeros and a one by March 1st, I'd say probably like a 65-45 as of right now. So we'll see if it happens. If it doesn't, again, wrong as hell. But I don't know. I really think this time is different. This time is different, right? Oh man, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Take some medicine. Chill out. I'll have to do this more, guys. This was fun. I had a good time, right? But uh, I am spent. You guys got a lot of talking out of me with literally like one person who decided to comment. I think we had at max like three people watching at the same time, which we got a long way to go. But this was an unexpected live stream, so it is what it is. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of it. All right. So this will conclude the live stream. I'll have to do more of these. Been really busy traveling, like I said, seeing family, relocating, all that good stuff. So my apologies for being absent. Um, I know a lot of people, they were absent, and I feel bad. Like I really do want to be like here for people and like try to give them like a little bit of optimism. But let's see, what is this? somebody put something in the chat. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, Manito says, appreciate it. Appreciate that a lot. Um, but yeah, I am going to wrap it up. Uh, and I want you guys to know that it's times like these where people who you want to look to for advice, this is when they're going to try to fake you out. So when they're fudding stuff, like when they're saying like, PTGC is garbage, or um, or they're like, oh well, Pulse Chain, it's just not going to make it. Those are the same people that are buying really, really low. Literally, almost like all times, you can probably guarantee that whoever's talking shit about something is probably either they're going to buy it when it goes lower, or they've been buying it and they're not trying to, they're not trying to let you get the one up on them. They want you to chase their bags, not vice versa. So keep that in mind. Stay safe, everybody. Hope everyone had a good holiday. Like I said, I'm going to try to do more of these, and I'm excited to do more stuff too. So, all right, you guys take it easy, man.